Hey, does it feel a little bit like a make or break situation for you guys?
To me, it's make or break just because it's the next game. That's the most important game. The next one always. You know, it's a very important game, obviously a conference game, so you put a lot of emphasis on it. But I don't think make or break can't be the whole season riding on one game. It's always the most important game because it's the next one. Once we get done with this game, the next game will be the most important. So it's a very, very important game. A lot of stress has been put on this game throughout the the preseason and those types of things. But make or break, I think, is probably the wrong word.
Hey, Erik, Ron Held said that battles between the D-line and the offensive line have been quite a show during camp. What's that show look like to you?
Yeah, it looks like real college football. Looks like the O-line is tremendously improved. Great job by Coach Austin and all the offensive coaches and those kids. They've done a really good job. The D-line is much improved. Those outside backers that are playing DN for us in nickel stuff. So it's been really good to watch those guys in run situations and in pass situations. And I think those quote unquote live up front, even when it's not live, tackling the running back, those periods are going to pay dividends for us in the end. So I'm very happy with the way that Coach Frost structured those practices.
That one corner spot opposite Cam, is that a spot where you maybe rotate guys, or do you like to settle in on a guy for a game week that's more situated there?
No, I think Coach Fish, I think he really likes to rotate guys. At least 3 safeties and 3 corners. I don't know if he's always felt great about the next man in, or we've just had 2 guys that were, just taking over those spots. So I think that he would like to rotate at least 1 guy at each position throughout the year, and maybe, Cam gets most of the reps because, he is who he is, and that other spot's a rotational spot. And I think he's going to make that decision through this week.
I'm not expecting you to name the guy, but did you see the separation in the last week at that corner, or is that just...
To be honest with you, you have to look at a whole body of work. But, one guy kind of pulled out, and then the other guy closed the gap, and then the other guy pulled out, and then the other guy closed the gap. So I know it sounds like we're holding something back, but that thing is pretty tight right now. Yeah, right now those guys are fighting it out.
When it came to characteristics of their issues, did you see that stand out?
Obviously Braxton's got ultra length. Quentin's probably got a little bit better transition skills, but both of them play the ball really well. Braxton plays the deep ball really well. Q can do some things on jumping some inside and under routes. So their games are a little bit different, but they both have really, really good attributes and really good skill sets.
When it came to Monday's black shirt ceremony, how happy are you for the first time black shirts? And was it you and Coach Frost who decided the 12?
So kind of how we did it was we talked about it as a defensive staff, and there was some close battles and maybe even some guys that are going to play in a rotational situation that will play as much as the starters that we kind of put in the mix, and then Coach Frost ultimately made the final decision.
How happy are you for those first time black shirts?
I'm fired up for those guys, especially some guys that have been in the program and it means a lot to them, and or guys that are Nebraska kids that get to wear that black shirt. And I think having the former black shirts here, former's a bad word because there'll always be black shirts, but having those guys here presenting those jerseys, I think made it even more special for those guys.
Is there a point when the hay's in the barn for you as a coach before a game, or what are like the last 24, 48 hours like for you, especially before a season opener when you've worked for 8 months for it?
Yeah, I think the hay's never in the barn. You're and sometimes maybe that works to your disadvantage when you got to watch another hour of film, even though you watched it a bunch and all those kind of things. But I think you're always trying to take one more look and just see if your eyes are playing tricks on you, or if you really got it dialed where you want to. But ultimately, on defense, we got to put them in the best position. We got to create the best environment for these kids to be successful, and then get out of their way a little bit. And these kids have shown right now that just put us in the right spots, coach, and let us go play the game. So I don't want to be, I want to make sure that we're as ready as we need to be, but I don't want to overanalyze this kids and overanalyze the situation and make it even more stressful on the kids.
Did you watch a lot of App State film? That was their OC.
Yeah, I mean, you got to watch everything. He's been the OC at a bunch of different places. He was the OC at, I believe, Eastern Carolina when we were at UCF, Minnesota, and he's been at App State. And we had the spring game from the TV copy, which is hard to see, but you get to see a little bit of what they're doing. And, so ultimately you're watching a lot. And then you got to watch Illinois film because you got to watch the personnel. So there's just a lot of film to get watched. So probably a good thing that you had a little time, but a bad thing you don't have a real game to watch.
I know hackers like to have experience, but especially in that situation, then when there could be a lot of different things, there's going to be looks obviously that you probably, at some point would be a surprise or a wrinkle. How much trust that you have in having so much experience to let those guys go adjust to it?
Well, I think, once again, I think when you're designing plays on offense, you're probably looking at different fronts and things like that and putting yourself in the best case. When you're on defense, there's going to be a new wrinkle. I don't care if it's this game or the next game or a team we've played 10 times and we think we know exactly what they're going to do. But as long as everybody knows where we're supposed to get lined up, follows my rules and makes it about us and not them, then you got a shot.
Erik, how familiar are you with Brett Bielema, both being former Iowa guys, and how much have you kind of studied him as a coach over the years?
Yeah, and obviously Coach Bielema is a defensive guy, so I think the most thing that you have to be aware of is his head coaching style. His clock management, how he wants the team to look. And we've got some good samples from that from Wisconsin and Arkansas, and obviously he's been with the Patriots and the Giants. But that's more of it, just how does he want to manage this thing? Is he going to let this thing be wide open? Is he going to control the clock? What are they going to do situationally? But that's the biggest thing to look at. And obviously Coach Bielema was a coach at Iowa when I was there. He coached my brother. So I do know him pretty well. But he's been an excellent head coach in the Big Ten before. So we really got to get ready for his style.
I know you talked some about Damien and the camp he's had, but what can you say about the way that his leadership has grown, not just like in camp, but since we've been here and sort of his ascension to being voted on as a captain?
Yeah, Damien, I think we always knew he was a good player. We talked to you guys about, his stamina needed to increase when he was younger. And then his brother came, and he kind of, his brother got voted captain, and he kind of had to take a back seat to his brother, and his brother left. And then he did an unbelievable job of changing his body. And, a lot of times when you change your body and you change your play and the guys see how you're changing your habits, then all of a sudden your shoulders go from here to here. And I think you saw that with his personality, and guys really respect him, obviously so much that they voted him captain. So I think his personality and his leadership skills have grown as much as his athletic ability or football ability throughout the years. All right. Thanks. You guys.